One of the main reasons why I could never turn my back on the Black community is because I understand them. Most times I don't agree with them, but I do understand them. I grew up in the Black community, the not so nice parts. Well, I started out okay. See, my childhood started from top and it slowly dwindled down. And if I were to put it short and sweet, I would say that it was a lot of hood circumstances that took me from being in a two-parent household where my parents were married all the way down into foster care by the time I was 15 years old. So I got to see and I got to experience what it was like to grow up in a stable environment where I look at people who are on welfare and I look at people who got multiple baby daddies and all this other stuff. And I go, what's wrong with those people? And then as my life started to go down during my childhood, as tragedies started to strike, I was at the bottom looking up. I was amongst people who did not have the opportunities that I had because of the circumstances that I ended up in by the time I was a teenager. I was able to understand the multiple baby daddies. I was able to understand the chronic homelessness. I was able to understand drug addiction, alcohol addiction, Grand Theft Auto. I was able to understand a multitude of things because now I was living in the middle of it. I guess to put it poetically, I've been on either side of the spectrum. And why am I bringing this up? I keep thinking about this Rodney Hinton Jr. situation. I keep thinking about this Carmelo Anthony situation. I keep thinking about this Trayvon Martin, this Sandra Bland situation. Of course, I have my conservative views, and the first thing I think is, what in the world were these people doing? Why are they caught in this stupid situation? How could they get themselves in that predicament to where something tragic happened to them? And the American justice system did not do them justice from people who see things from their point of view. And on the other end, there's a side of me, that foster care side of me, that says, hell yeah, about time the tides are starting to turn. And I always find myself conflicted because on one end, it's easy for me to look at a situation and be like, it is what it is. But on the other end, I've been down there. Not that I'm trying to say that I'm one of them or I know their pain, but I can see where they're coming from. I'm going to zoom in on this real quick. Rodney Hinton Jr. saw a clip of a police officer gun down his son. And I think this happened within 24 hours. He's driving down the road, he sees a cop, he runs that cop over. Now, he kills this cop. Cop has nothing to do. In fact, I shout out to the Millionaire Morning Show. I learned this cop was a retired officer who was just picking up an extra shift, just trying to serve his community. But that's not what state of mind this Black man was in. He wasn't thinking like that. I mean, just how traumatic is it to watch your son get gunned down, regardless of what the boy was doing? And okay, let me back that up. He wasn't a boy. He was an 18-year-old young man, fresh adult. And as I'm recording this video, my daughter, she's doing her thing. You know what my son is doing? He's running around the house. He's banging on stuff. He's picking up stuff. He's throwing stuff around. Right now, he's super quiet. I might just need to check on him, see what he's doing. But I'm just imagining how horrific it would be to see my son being killed. And me knowing for a fact that he's going to be depicted as some crook who had it coming. Even if my son was a YN, my humanity knows for a fact that it would not be justified in how he was gunned down in cold blood. And even today, I listen to the conservative point of view as well as the liberal point of view. And the conservatives are all saying the resounding same thing, which is, you know, if you had a problem with what happened to your son, this just shows how bad of a parent you were. And those are some really tough words, especially considering black people, we not just any old people. Let me just stress this point and lean on it for a second. One of the reasons why I get so conflicted with dealing or identifying with the black community is because we have a unique identity that nobody else on this planet has. We've been brought here. We did not come here for a better life. We did not come here 2 generations ago. We were forced here. And then for generations, we were enslaved and traumatized, and there were so many unspeakable things that happened to us from generation to generation. And those things that happened to us still impact us today. When people say slavery happened a long time ago, I see black people to this day where, and including myself, who've been impacted by institutions that all came from slavery in some way or another. Now, I am not the type of person that's like anti-accountability, but to just say that, oh, that happened a long time ago, that shouldn't even be a factor in any conversation, that is bizarre to me. That being said, on the other side of this of the conversation, I know that black people inflict a lot of self-inflicted wounds, redundancy era. We put a lot of self-inflicted wounds, that's a better sentence, on ourselves. We really do. We destroy ourselves a lot. We destroy each other a lot. We're dishonest. Black people are some of the most dishonest people I've ever dealt with in my life. Let me be specific about that. When I say dishonest, I don't mean like always cheating and scamming and things like, I mean it in the smallest way. Like, black people would be like, are you married or are you married? And it's like, there's only one way to be married. Well, there's hood rich and then there's good rich. We got our own little, I hate the fact that we think that it's cute that we have our little twist on things, but that's a part of the culture. So yeah, that's one of those things that's not really flattering, right? So before I get accused of running in the victim Olympics, I'm just acknowledging facts. I'm still here in the South, and I'm very well connected to the slave owners who used to own my family. Anyway, that sounds like a whole nother video. I do have both a conservative and a liberal side of thinking of this, and this is what I'm going to attempt to, word, if you will. A man raised his son. His son, is involved in some degenerate behavior. His son gets into it with the police. They kill him. He sees that, and he has to deal with the fact that his son was killed. Not only that, but most likely that cop that killed my son, who's 18, life hasn't even started. I know that cop is gonna get to walk. I know that cop is gonna get to see his son, maybe even his grandsons. I know this court case is gonna get dragged out. I know the media is gonna have a field day with this. And at the end of the day, most likely I'm not even gonna get a settlement. All I'm gonna get is, you should have been a better dad. And all these emotions are mounting. I haven't even scratched the surface. I could not imagine if my son was gunned down. Not saying it's right, I'm just looking at the humanity of it all. And if all you can think of is how your son got shot and killed, and the person who shot and killed him most likely is gonna be celebrated for being a hero, most likely is not gonna do any jail time, gonna get to raise his son. That rage bottled up in you, you've been told over and over again that you didn't do it good enough, that you're a YN or whatever the case may be. All that bottled up, and you see somebody who represent that, it wasn't about running into that man and killing him in that uniform. It was about what that badge represents, how triggering it is, and how traumatized this man was. Like, I still maintain my conservative thought. Like, I hate that that boy died like that, but that young man died like that, but that's them streets for you. But at the same time, I can still understand where Mr. Hinton was coming from. No, I don't agree, but I couldn't imagine what headspace he was in.